Story 1. The Gravestone Whisperer. The sound of footsteps crunching on gravel. A woman, late 20s, speaks quietly to herself as she walks alone at night in the cemetery. Woman. God, why did I even agree to this? Fucking dares. It's just a cemetery. Stones and grass. Nothing more. She stops abruptly, noticing something strange on a gravestone ahead. The faint sound of a child giggling echoes through the air. Woman. No. No, fuck this. I am not imagining that. The giggling stops. She takes a step closer, her breathing shaky. Woman. Here lies Charlotte May. Taken too soon, 1873. Her voice trembles as the giggle returns, but it's closer this time. She spins around. Woman. Who's there? A little girl, pale with hollow eyes, stands behind her, pointing at the gravestone. Little girl. She's not sleeping. The woman screams as the little girl's face morphs into a decaying, corpse-like grin. Story 2. Grave Robber's Curse. Two men, late 30s, are digging at night. The sound of shovels hitting dirt. Man 1. You sure about this, Kyle? Messing with the dead ain't exactly, I don't know, moral. Kyle. Since when do you give a shit about morals? Gold's gold, man. And these old graves are full of it. Man 1. Yeah, well, it feels fucking wrong. Kyle. Oh no, I'm so scared of ghosts. Grow a pair and keep digging. The shovel hits something hard. The men exchange nervous glances. Kyle. Bingo. They pry open a decrepit coffin. Inside is a skeletal corpse, clutching a gold necklace. Kyle snatches it without hesitation. Man 1. Jesus, man. Put it back. Kyle, fuck that. I'm getting paid. As soon as he says this, the corpse's hand moves, gripping Kyle's wrist with impossible force. Kyle screams as the skeletal figure rises. Corpse. Thief. You'll pay in blood. Kyle's screams echo as the scene fades to silence. Story 3. The Watcher. A teenage girl records a voice memo while sitting on a tombstone, her voice casual and bored. Girl. Okay, so I'm in the middle of Grayson Cemetery, and honestly, this shit's overrated. People are all, oh, it's haunted. Don't go there alone. Fucking losers. There's a faint rustling sound nearby. She pauses. Girl. Probably just the wind. The rustling grows louder. She spins around, her phone light illuminating an empty space. Girl. Yeah, wind. Definitely not some ghost ready to fuck me up. Suddenly, a shadowy figure emerges from the darkness, its hollow eyes fixated on her. Girl. Oh shit. Oh fuck. The figure moves closer, its voice a guttural whisper. Figure. You're not welcome here. The girl drops her phone, and the audio cuts abruptly. Story 4. Midnight Visitors. A couple sits in a car parked just outside the cemetery gates arguing. Man. I'm telling you, Amanda, this place is bad fucking news. Can we just go? Amanda. Jesus, Greg. It's a cemetery, not a murder scene. Stop being such a baby. The car radio suddenly turns on, blasting static. Both freeze. Greg. What the fuck was that? The static clears, replaced by a deep echoing voice. Voice. Leave. Now. Amanda. Did you hear that? The car's headlights flicker, and in the brief flashes, shadowy figures appear, surrounding the car. Greg. They're everywhere. The figures press their decayed hands against the windows, leaving bloody smears. The couple screams as the car's engine dies. Story 5. Buried alive. A man wakes up in complete darkness, gasping for breath. Man, where? Where the fuck am I? He bangs his fists against wood, realizing he's inside a coffin. Man. No, 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 no. Someone help me. Please. The sound of dirt being shoveled onto the coffin grows louder. The man screams, his voice cracking. Man, I'm alive. I'm fucking alive. The shoveling stops. For a moment, there's silence. Voice. We know. The coffin creaks as something scratches against it from the outside. The man's screams echo as the scratching intensifies. Story The crying statue. A college student, Sarah, walks into a cemetery with her camera, taking pictures of old statues for her photography class. Sarah. This place is perfect. Creepy, but perfect. She stops in front of a tall angel statue. Its face looks weathered, with streaks running down its cheeks resembling tears. Sarah. Whoa, looks like this thing's crying. Cool. She takes a photo. The camera glitches momentarily, and when the image appears, the angel's head is turned, staring directly at her. Sarah. That's not right. She looks up from the camera and freezes. The statue's head is still turned toward her. A faint sound of crying echoes from somewhere nearby. Voice, whispering. Why did you wake me? The statue suddenly moves, its stone fingers reaching for Sarah. She screams, dropping her camera as the crying grows deafening. Story 7. The Lantern Keeper. A man, Jake, in his late 40s, walks through the cemetery at night, holding a dim lantern. Jake. Stupid storm. Took out the power, and now I'm stuck out here like some goddamn ghost hunter. He notices a faint light in the distance and follows it, thinking it's another lantern. Jake. Hey, whoever's there, you better not be messing with me. The light grows brighter and reveals a figure holding an identical lantern. The figure is dressed in old tattered clothing, with a face partially obscured by shadows. Jake. Nervous. Who the hell are you? Figure. Calmly. I'm the keeper. Jake steps closer, but the figure vanishes. His lantern goes out, leaving him in total darkness. Suddenly, the figure's voice whispers behind him. Figure. Now you are too. Story 8. The Wrong Grave. A group of teenagers gathers around a grave, holding a makeshift Ouija board. Teen 1. I'm telling you, this is the one. People say she was some kind of witch or something. Teen 2. Rolling eyes. Whatever. Let's just get this over with. They begin asking questions. The planchette moves erratically. Teen 3, laughing nervously. Okay, who's pushing it? Teen 1, not me. The planchette spells out, leave now. The group laughs it off until the ground beneath them starts to shake. A hand bursts out of the grave, clawing at the air. Teen 2, holy shit, run! The group scatters, but the grave continues to tremble, a guttural growl echoing from below. Story 9. The bell ringer, a man, Eric, is tasked with cleaning the old cemetery bell tower. Eric. Fucking place gives me the creeps. Just a job, Eric. Just a goddamn job. As he climbs the stairs, he notices the bell swinging slightly, even though there's no wind. Eric. Weird. He reaches the top and sees a figure in old-fashioned clothes standing by the bell rope, staring at him. Eric. Hey, you're not supposed to be up here. The figure pulls the rope, and the bell rings loudly. Eric covers his ears, but the ringing won't stop. When he looks up, the figure is gone. The rope swings on its own, and the sound of distant voices chanting fills the tower. Story 10. The Whispering Crypt. A young woman, Lisa, explores an underground crypt for a video blog. Lisa. Okay, guys, this is the crypt of St. Hollow's Cemetery. Creepy as hell, but totally worth it. She hears faint whispers coming from deeper inside and hesitates. Lisa. Probably just the wind, right? The whispers grow louder, overlapping into a chaotic hum of voices. Lisa shines her flashlight ahead, revealing a row of decayed figures, standing upright in niches. Their mouths move, whispering. Whispers in unison. Stay with us. Lisa screams as the figures step out of the niches, reaching for her. Story 11. The Phantom Hearse. An elderly man recounts his story to a group of listeners at a bar. Old man. I swear on my life, I saw it. Midnight, out by Gray Hollow Cemetery. A black hearse, no driver, just rolling down the road. Listener. Skeptical. Yeah, right. Old man. Angrily. I'm serious. It stopped right in front of me. The back doors opened, and I saw myself in there, lying in a coffin. Listener. Mocking. And you lived to tell the tale? Old man. Gritting teeth. Barely. As he finishes his drink, A faint sound of a hearse horn echoes outside the bar. Story 12. The Black Cat's Warning. A woman walks her dog through the cemetery. A black cat appears and blocks her path. Woman. Shoo, get out of here. The cat hisses, its eyes glowing unnaturally bright. The dog whimpers, refusing to move. Woman. What's your problem? It's just a cat. The cat suddenly sprints ahead and stops by an open grave. The woman follows, confused. As she peers into the grave, a hand grabs her ankle and pulls her in. Story 13. The Keeper of Keys. An older groundskeeper, Walter, is locking up the cemetery gates at dusk. He jingles his massive ring of keys. Walter. Last round of the night. Don't need any idiots sneaking in again. He hears faint footsteps behind him and turns, but no one is there. He shrugs and keeps walking. The sound of a heavy door slamming makes him jump. Walter. Damn wind. As he approaches the mausoleum to check, he finds the door wide open. His key ring suddenly feels lighter. Looking down, he sees one of the keys missing. A raspy voice echoes from the darkness. Voice. Looking for this? A pale hand holding the missing key emerges from the shadows, followed by a decayed face grinning wickedly. Story 14. The Mourner. A young man, Tony, walks past the cemetery every night after work. One evening, he notices a woman in a black veil sitting by a gravestone. Tony, to himself, who the hell visits at this hour? Curiosity gets the better of him, and he approaches her. Tony. Ma'am, are you okay? The woman doesn't respond, but her veil lifts slightly, revealing a face with hollow sockets where eyes should be. Tony stumbles back, horrified, as she speaks in a low, echoing voice. Woman. Stay and mourn with me. She extends her hand, her icy touch freezing Tony in place as his breath becomes visible in the cold air. Story 15. The Screaming Tree. A group of friends gathers under an old tree in the cemetery, sharing ghost stories. Friend 1. They say this tree's roots grow through the bodies buried here. Friend 2. Bullshit. It's just a creepy old tree. A loud creaking noise interrupts them. The branches sway violently, though there's no wind. Friend 3. Okay, that's weird. Suddenly, a piercing scream erupts from the tree itself. Faces appear in the bark, their mouths wide open in agony. The friends scatter, but the screams follow them, growing louder and louder. Story 16. The Caretaker's Secret. A young reporter, Alex, interviews the cemetery caretaker about its history. Alex. So, any spooky stories you've heard over the years? Caretaker. Stories? Sure. But the real scary shit happens in the crypt. Alex. What do you mean? The caretaker smirks and leads Alex into a dark crypt. As they descend, the air grows colder. The caretaker suddenly locks the gate behind them. Caretaker. They like company. From the shadows, dozens of skeletal hands emerge, grabbing Alex as the caretaker chuckles darkly. Story 17. The Forgotten Grave. A woman, Emma, visits an old cemetery to find a relative's grave, but stumbles upon an overgrown tombstone instead. Emma. Poor thing. No one's cared for this in years. She kneels to clear the vines. As she wipes the dirt away, her name is revealed on the tombstone. Her heart pounds. Emma. No, that's impossible. A voice whispers behind her. Voice. You've always been here. She turns, but the cemetery is empty. When she looks back, the grave is freshly dug. Story 18. The Singing Spirit. A choir group practices late in a church next to the cemetery. One by one, the members leave, until only Clara remains to pack up her sheet music. Clara, humming to herself. Almost done. She hears a soft, melodic voice singing the hymn they just practiced. She pauses, looking around. Clara. Hello. The singing grows louder. A figure in tattered choir robes appears near the cemetery gates, its face obscured by a hood. Clara. Hey, are you? The figure lifts its head, revealing a decayed face. Its mouth continues to sing, even as its jaw unhinges unnaturally wide. Story 19. The Shadowed Path. A man jogging through the cemetery at dusk takes a shortcut through a narrow path. Man, just a path. Nothing scary about a little path. The shadows from the trees stretch unnaturally long, almost like hands reaching toward him. He picks up his pace. Man, keep it together, man. You're imagining things. Suddenly, the shadows on the path converge, forming a humanoid figure that blocks his way. Its hollow eyes stare into his soul. Shadow figure, wrong way. Story 20, The Unseen Choir. A group of ghost hunters explores a cemetery at midnight. Hunter, sir, did you hear that? Sounded like singing? Hunter, 2. Yeah, faint, but it's coming from over there. They follow the sound to an old chapel ruin. Inside, the air hums with an eerie melody, though no one is visible. Hunter, 1, whispering, this is insane. The melody grows louder, and ghostly figures appear in the pews, turning their eyeless faces toward the hunters. The organ begins to play by itself. Story 21. The doll maker's grave. A little girl skips through the cemetery, clutching an old doll. Girl and singing, ring around the rosy. She stops in front of a grave marked the doll maker. Her doll's head suddenly turns to face her, its painted eyes blinking. Doll, thank you for bringing me home. Story 22, The Endless Funeral. A mourner walks into the cemetery, drawn by the sound of funeral bells. He finds a procession of ghostly figures carrying an ornate coffin. Mourner, what the hell? As he watches, one of the figures turns to him, its skeletal face grinning. Figure, care to join us? Story 23, The Bleeding Grave. A storm rages as a couple seeks shelter near an old mausoleum. Blood begins to seep from the cracks in the stone. Woman, oh my God, what is that? Man, horrified, we need to leave. Now! Story 24, The Cemetery Keeper's Clock. At exactly midnight, the cemetery's clock strikes 13, and the graves begin to open. Story 25, The Eternal Watcher. A man sits in the cemetery every night, staring at the same grave. One day, someone asks him why. Man, because if I stop watching, she'll come back. The grave suddenly cracks open, and a pale hand emerges.